Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy.
And I'm Lucas.
And welcome back to Patched. And today we're going to be reviewing the Xtrfy MZ1 Zeiss Rail RGB. So very long name. But it's going for 80 bucks, which is I guess on the more expensive side of things, especially for a wired mouse. But if you guys do want to get it, we'll leave a link in the description box. But let's get it started right away with the shape of the mouse. And this is a really weird shape. Look at this.
Yeah, what is going on? It looks like if the HSK was longer.
Either that or like a very flat MM711, you know? Because like it's a very similar shape to the MM711, but like look at the back of this, right? It's a pretty flat design, and this is one of the lowest profile mice that I've ever used. It's really interesting, right? So it's super long, but very narrow, right? So like even for my small hand, I can't really put more fingers than 2 fingers on top of the mouse, you know? Usually I have like my ring finger kind of on top a little bit, but on this one it's just so narrow that it's just a very interesting shape, and it took me a little while to get used to it, right? But how'd you like it?
Yeah, the shape at first was very jarring, and it was a little bit difficult to get used to, because I'm used to a higher profile mouse. That's usually what I would prefer. But this guy, once I got used to it, it was extremely nice to use. But I would say typically it takes me, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 games of Valorant to get used to a mouse. This took me like a full day or 2 to really feel like I was comfortable with it.
Even with your large size hand, it was okay?
Yeah, even with large size hands, because I was using mainly a claw grip with this mouse. Browsing the desktop with a palm grip is a little bit awkward, but it's not the end of the world.
Really?
Because that's just for browsing the desktop.
Yeah.
But with a claw grip, I really had no issues with this mouse, and I did like it after the adjustment period. But just do note, if you're purchasing this mouse based off of this review, it's gonna take an adjustment period.
Yes, and if you palm grip at all, don't get this mouse because it's a terrible mouse shape for palm grip in my opinion. But if you fingertip grip or claw grip, this is a great shape. You know, like if any type of low profile shape is usually good for a claw grip style, you know? So that feels really nice. Also, another thing that I really liked about the shape is that if you look at the mouse 1 and 2 buttons, it has a very crazy indent. So like your fingers can basically rest inside those dents, and it gives you a really nice grip on the mouse when you're playing with it. So, I mean, yeah, exactly what Lucas said. It reminds me of the HSK a lot, but with like a back, you know, so
as far as the weight goes, we're stating on the website 56 grams, excluding the cable. So we'll see what it sort of weighs in at our scale.
59 grams, 59 grams.
Okay, that's about average with the cable on there. There's nothing really perfect we can do to hold this off of the scale. But the weight, it's very low. Like, it's very light, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I don't really care much about weight, as long as it's not over like 90 grams, I'd say. So the weight feels nice. It suits the mouse very well. And despite it being a relatively low weight, it doesn't feel very cheap in my hand. Except for a couple factors, which we'll get into in a bit. As far as the switches we've got in here, we've got the KLGM 8.0s in here, and they feel phenomenal. I mean, the switches, I mean, we love Kale switches here, so I mean, it's just, you can tell it was made by a mouse reviewer. I mean, come on.
Yes.
Like this is, he knows what we like.
Yes.
He knows what we like.
No more Omrons, guys, please. Omrons feel like, it doesn't feel as good as Kales. Kales have this really nice hard click to it. There's really no like long post travel or pre travel, it's just the right amount for me, and just the click feels amazing. It feels like the XM1R or the original XM1, which have very nice clicks, and these are up there for me. I absolutely love how the clicks feel on this mouse. As far as the scroll wheel goes, the scroll wheel reminds me a lot of the Model O, so the steps aren't very tactile, it's more smooth, and then the scroll wheel click is actually pretty nice. As far as the side buttons go, the side buttons I feel like aren't the best here. I mean, it's kind of recessed into the chassis a little bit. I wish it would be a little bit more like out, so it's easier to press. But other than that, I mean, also it's very small. As you guys can see, the side buttons are very small, so it's not the easiest to press, especially if you have like a larger thumb. So the side buttons are okay, but the mouse 1 and 2 for me are amazing.
Yeah, mouse 1 and 2 are great. Side buttons, I didn't really have an issue with pressing them. They are a little bit small for my liking and a little bit far back. But I guess that's going to depend on your type of hand. And of course, it's something that you can get used to. As with any mouse, like I said, there's going to be an adjustment period. And that's just one of those things where you're going to get used to it, and then you'll have no problem sort of snapping to those side buttons when you need them. One thing that I do want to mention though, sort of regarding the Switch, is the only thing that sort of acts as the Achilles heel of this mouse is just the mouse wobble that's on the mouse 1 and 2. They kind of creak a little bit. You can't necessarily hear it too well, but you can feel it. When I'm using this mouse, if you're doing very quick clicks, but if you're tracking or doing anything like that, it's very, very noticeable. There's a creak on there, and it just wobbles side to side a little bit. For all intents and purposes, it's not really a huge deal. But it's something we noticed. So that would sort of dip into the category of build quality a little bit.
Yes, and also another thing that I forgot to mention is on the scroll wheel, I have like small to medium sized hands, and going up on the scroll wheel is freaking annoying because of how the scroll wheel is placed. It's very, very on top of the mouse. I wish it would have been a little bit lower, because when I try to, because when I'm playing and I'm using fingertip, my fingers are pretty much like in the middle of the mouse, right? Because of how long the shape is. And it's kind of hard and kind of annoying to use the scroll wheel for me. So just watch out for that. I found that a little annoying. It's not a deal breaker or anything, but it's just slightly inconvenient for me. So just keep in mind for that. As far as the skates go, we got pure PTFE skates. One large one here on top of the mouse and two smaller ones here on each corner of the mouse, and none surrounding the sensor.
And they are some thick boys. They are some thick PTFE feet,
yes,
man.
Very durable, of course. It'll probably last you a very long time. So it feels very smooth. It feels very quick. Not as quick as like the Rocat ones. You know, the Rocat that's like heat treated or whatever. Those are super nice, but these are just like regular pure PTFE skates. They feel nice.
Yeah, they feel good. No complaints. There definitely wasn't any hiccups or there wasn't really any slow period with these, which was nice as well. Some PTFE skates, when you get them in, they just feel kind of scratchy at first. These ones, we didn't have that problem at all.
All right, as far as the cable goes, we have a paracord, and are they calling this anything like the Infinity Gauntlet cable, Air, Cloud?
Oh, you know they are. It's the Xtrfy Easy Cord Pro with a registered logo.
The Pro, oh my god. Yeah, so it's a paracord. It feels nice. You're really not gonna feel the cord while you're gaming unless it like snags on something. Or if it like kind of pulls on your desk, and if that's the case, then you can just get a mouse bungee. But other than that, it's a great cord.
As far as the sensor in there, we're rocking a 3389. Feels very fast, very responsive. No complaints for that. And of course, under the sensor, we have the good luck, have fun, little GLHF there.
Oh god.
Which does add effect. It's like RGB on a scroll wheel. It just makes it a little bit faster.
Of course. And of course, here on the left of the sensor, we got a DPI button, and it is color coded, so you know what DPI step you're on.
Yeah, so one thing I like about the DPI button that's on there, and this is such a minor little thing, but I loved it. So when you get back to the original setting, so when you're pressing it a bunch and you get back to the original 400 DPI is what it starts at, it blinks. It blinks like once or twice to let you know that you're back at 400 DPI, which I love because I can never memorize all the colors for this. And I was turning it down to 400 DPI I was playing Borderlands, which just has ridiculously high sensitivity, so I halved my sense for that. And it's nice that it blinks because I never memorized the color that 800 DPI is at, but then I know it's set at 400, so I press it one more, I'm back to 800. Such a minor little thing, but a huge quality of life increase from my point of view anyways. And then we have this sort of adjuster down here, which can change what this top middle button does. Now it's going to start off with the RGB, so it'll change your RGB. One step over and we've got polling rate. Another step over, we've got liftoff distance, and then we've got this F11. And if you're anything like me, you are wondering what the heck is F11? And this is basically just so you can bind it to whatever you would want in game. So it's kind of like a placeholder.
Ooh, a nice little extra button on top. That's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. All right, moving on to the build quality of the mouse. So as far as the actual finish goes, we have a very clean and very smooth finish on this mouse. The plastic is pretty translucent, so you can kind of see through the plastic, which is kind of cool. And of course, we have a whole design on this mouse. And it's a circle though. It's not like the honeycomb pattern that most mice use. It's like a circle pattern, which is very interesting. I'm pretty over the whole design, but I guess it is kind of unique with the circles, right? As far as the fingerprints go, there's really no fingerprints. It doesn't really pick up any, which is a good thing. And as far as like the grip goes, It has pretty good grip, but once your hands get a little sweaty, it gets a little slippery, so just watch out for that. But as far as the overall build quality goes for the finish, I liked it.
Yeah, the finish felt great. That's the only thing I would recommend, as well as maybe some grip tape on the mouse 1 and 2 wouldn't hurt to have, because your grip with your thumb and your pinky on this mouse isn't really going to be a problem because the holes sort of line up right there, and it helps you grip it a lot better. But with mouse 1 and 2, I can definitely see fingers slipping if you have sweatier hands, or you just have the tendency to get sweaty when you're gaming like I do. So another nice thing is the RGB on this guy. I don't usually like to give a lot of credit to RGB, but I mean, it's got that Xtrfy Classic, the front RGB there, and a little bit on the scroll wheel to make it faster, just that much faster. So I can imagine all of the heads you would click if you get your RGB setting just right. And another thing is no software is needed for this mouse, so it's kind of got that Zowie kind of vibe to it, where everything's changeable through the mouse, and it's very, you don't really need instructions to use it. It's kind of just everything's on here, and it kind of is self-explanatory how to use everything, which I actually like, because if there's no software for it, or if you're not going to use software for it, it's nice to have everything just being very intuitive, very fluid to use. So changing the RGB, lift off distance, pulling rate, DPI, everything is done within the mouse using this top button and then the buttons on the bottom of the mouse there. So very nice features, and it's very well executed.
Yes, another thing I like about the RGB is that you can change it to, like, when you click, the RGB lights up on where the actual mouse button is, which is really, really cool. Also, I like the Xtrfy, like here on the bottom of the mouse. I mean, your hand's gonna be covering it, but I think it's kind of cool. It gives it a nice little touch, and it's a nice little, like, subtle branding on the mouse, So yeah, as far as this mouse goes, wrapping things up, it's a pretty nice mouse. I enjoyed playing with it. The only issue for me would be, like, the shape. I definitely, like Lucas said, I definitely needed to get used to it a little bit. When I got used to it, it's actually a very, very nice shape, but it's, like I said, it's mostly for claw or fingertip grip users. Also, one thing to watch out for is that tracking issue. Like, when you press the mouse button down, you definitely feel that creaking a little bit, so just watch out for that. But other than that, this is a great mouse.
Yeah, I think my only real qualm with the mouse is just the creaking of the mouse 1 and 2 buttons a little bit, but that's not really a deal breaker, and it shouldn't be for you either. It's really not that huge of a deal. I think that this mouse it kind of goes to show when you get a company that's not out of touch with the people who are going to be using their products. I mean, this is something that's clearly made or designed by a gamer, which is Rocket Jump Ninja, and it's made for gamers, and you can tell it's a very, very, very no holds barred approach. I mean, you got a 3389 in there, you've got the Kale switches in there, you've got good RGB. The clicks feel great, the build quality feels good, it's lightweight. It's someone who's clearly very in touch with what gamers want, and then what we look for in our mice. So this is definitely a refreshing take, I would say.
But what do you think about the price? So $80, I feel like is a little expensive, especially since it doesn't really come with anything as far as, like, extra skates go, or, like, grip tape or anything. No stickers either. What the heck? We need stickers.
Not a single sticker.
No, we're just kidding. But
I think $80 is actually a really reasonable price for this mouse. Okay. Considering you're getting Kale switches in there in a 3389, I think that's kind of rare to find, because I think at the $50 price range you typically get like a 3360 and some Omrons in there, and it's kind of just a weak average gamer mouse,
Yeah.
So I think for $80, it's kind of a grab.
Okay, all right. So anyways, that's our review on this mouse. Again, if you guys do want to cop, we'll leave a link in the description box. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
See you in the next one.